Hello, everyone, and I bring you a warm welcome. We are here together in the final closing session in the Anti-Corruption Training of Trainers program. I am delighted, and I guess you all are. We've been on this journey for about 9 months now, since October 2024, and I'm sure some of us are happy to at least be coming to an end and to continue, the conversations going forward. I'd like to welcome us again. And also, on behalf of the organizing institutions, the Global Infrastructure Anti-Corruption Center, the World Federation of Engineering Organizations Committee on Anti-Corruption, and Global Ethics MENA, I hope we can have a good time together today and round up the sessions with our feedbacks and get to know our next steps. All right, without further ado, I'll introduce myself. I am Susan Aka. I've been the training coordinator in this training since October, and I've been working closely with two special people who are from the partner organizations. That is Neil Stansbury, who is the co-founder and director of the GICC, and Kamela Yadi, who is also the chairperson of the WFEO CAC, and another person, especially on board, who has been on our panel all this while, is Michael Kramer from the IARC in the USA. I would like to hand over right now to Neil so that he takes us through the evaluation process and gives us some feedback on all that has happened since we came into this training. And then I'll come back again and give us further information on the way forward for our conversations and our engagement after today's session. Thank you very much. Over to you, Neil, please.
Thank you very much, Susan. It's a great pleasure to see everyone here again in the final session of 16. And congratulations to everyone for making it through this far to the end. And I'd like to say, firstly, an amazing thanks to Susan Acker, who has been absolutely incredible in organizing and coordinating and introducing these workshops. She's just been totally amazing in what she's achieved. And what she has also done in the last 24 hours, she's pulled together the results of the evaluation surveys, which only closed last night, and has put them into a document suitable for me to present them to you. So thank you very much, Susan. They're absolutely amazing. So what I'll do, I'm going to share the evaluation results as put together by Susan. Um, Sorry, what's happened here? Apologies. Okay, I've got it up on the screen here. Can everyone see my screen now?
Yes,
Thank you,
please.
Susan. So thank you very much for all those of you who filled in the evaluation surveys. We've got some incredible data feedback from about 65 people who filled in the survey. A lot of very, very detailed information, which is going to take us some time to absorb. And we will take all of your feedback very much on board, our three organizations, and feed it into our future programs to make sure we learn from all the suggestions that you've given to us. So looking now at your survey responses, we asked a series of questions, and Susan has put them all here onto this PDF file. The first question was whether you were satisfied with the program or not. And of that, 63% gave the top mark of 5 for satisfaction, and 37% gave the second mark of satisfied. So we have 100% satisfaction with the program, with 63, 37 split as to very unsatisfied. So that's a very, very pleasing outcome. Now, I'm also, of course, very conscious that the people who filled in the survey are the people who are probably happy with the program. And so some people may have left the program not been happy with it. But anyway, we at least have pleased the people who wanted to stick with the program. So that's very, very pleasing. Secondly, the workshop sessions were relevant to my learnings and professional needs. We had, again, a very pleasing percentage of 66% saying that they were very satisfied, and sorry, it was very relevant, and 32% saying it was relevant. And one response was that it was sort of intermediate in the middle. The content was clear and well structured. 63% said it was very clear and well structured, and 34% said it was well structured, with two people in the middle on that one. The training was well coordinated, and this is a credit to Susan, because Susan did all the coordination herself, and so she got an amazing 80% rating here from you that it was very well coordinated, with 20% saying it was well coordinated. So that's an exceptional response. How would you rate the quality of the speakers? 69% of the people rated the quality generally as excellent, and 31% rated the quality as good, which is a very pleasing outcome for all the speakers who participated. How knowledgeable were the speakers about the training? 71% said extremely knowledgeable, 28% very knowledgeable, and 2%, one response was somewhat knowledgeable. How would you rate the speakers' facilitation and engagement of the sessions? 74% said excellent, and 16% said good, with one being fair. And then, Susan, there were 62 responses on what you appreciated most about the speakers' presentation styles. And so Susan's put together a few of the sample responses, some facilitated and engaging and interactive style. Speaker presentation styles contain concrete examples. Almost all had a comfortable and patient approach, and a few more comments there, which you can see. Then, do you have any suggestions for improving speaker delivery or engagement in future training? Some people didn't have suggestions. One person felt very strongly that the slides were being read too much to the people, and slides should have been used less, with less text, which is a comment we'll certainly take on board. Other people thought the speakers were engaged. One other person suggested a greater use of images and illustrations rather than just text, which of course is another point we will take on board. And another person asked for access to the copy of the presentations, which in fact are going to be made available to all participants after the session. And then any additional comments to be made? A few comments you can see on the screen there about the speakers. What aspects of the training have been most beneficial? Two people thought conflict of interest was the most beneficial. One person thought the case studies were. Other people thought concrete examples were very beneficial. The structured delivery, learning about different types of corruption, and the investigation of corruption at procurement stage and conflict of interest, what people found beneficial. We then did a survey on specific topics, and in relation to how corruption occurs in infrastructure projects, which was the theme of a couple of workshops, but also was a pervading theme all the way through. How much has your understanding increased? 62% said significantly, and 25% even higher at extremely, with 12% on moderately and 2% slightly. And then in relation to the same topic, how corruption occurs, how would you rate your current level of understanding? And 34% said very high, and 52% said high, with a few people giving in a lower feedback. Then in relation to how to prevent and investigate corruption in infrastructure projects, so the prevention and investigation modules, of which there were several touching on that, how has your understanding improved? 65% significantly, and 26% extremely, with a few responses being a bit lower than that. How would you rate your understanding of this topic after the training? 33% said very high, 53% said high, and a few moderate or better. Then another topic, the nature and impact of conflicts of interest, in relation to which there were 2 workshops. How did your understanding improve? 29% said extremely, 54% significantly, with a few saying moderately or slightly. And how would you rate your current understanding of conflict of interest? After that, people said 34% said very high, 54% said high, with a few being moderate, better, or low. The importance of ethics and anti-corruption strategies. How was your understanding improved? 27% extremely, 56% significantly, with a few being lower than that. How would you rate your understanding of the importance of ethics? 31% said very high, 58% said high, with a few lower. And then in artificial intelligence, which there's 1 workshop, how did your understanding improve? 46% said significantly, 12% said extremely, 18% said moderately, others slightly. And this may reflect a more mixed feedback on this one, may reflect the sort of the difficulty of this topic. And then how do you rate your current level of understanding of the topic of artificial intelligence after the training? 22% said very high, 40% said high, 23% said moderate, with a few being lower. So I think the artificial intelligence module had the sort of the slightly lower improvement feedback than the other modules, which is interesting and probably not surprising. Then you were asked, what specific skills did you gain? There were 60 responses, so Susan's just extracted a few samples. We'll be going through in detail later weeks, all the responses. People felt they gained skills in analytic models and tools, a greater breadth of understanding, a greater understanding of investigation, a deeper knowledge of infrastructure, anti-corruption, with a few other responses fed there below on the screen. How likely are you to apply what you've learned in your professional or community work? 43% said likely, 35%, 54% said very likely, with a couple being unsure or unlikely. So that's a very positive feedback for people who are going to use the learnings that they've developed over the course of the module in their work. And what motivates people to apply anti-corruption principles? Various responses, which Susan has sampled and put here. It's important to reduce corruption in the world. It damages society globally. It's inhuman. I believe education is key to peace, and so we need to educate more people on anti-corruption principles. Another response, following the training, I try to gradually apply the anti-corruption remarks and instructions in my daily work. I'm a governance and compliance advisor, so knowledge of corruption is critical for me. It's to fight against corruption and its devastating effects on developing countries. And a few other responses there listed below. And of course, 60 other responses, which we haven't listed on this chart. What specific aspects of the training do you plan to implement or share? Various responses, the analytical tools, the need for practical approach to oversight, the relevance of artificial intelligence, how to differentiate different types of corruption, focus on whistleblowing, the importance of ethics and anti-corruption strategies, how to prevent and investigate corruption. So a very broad range of feedback there, which does suggest that all the topics we raised in the workshops have been useful to people. What are your next steps after this training? People are going to use some of the material in higher education courses. They're going to evaluate their current organization, present a plan to their board of directors, plan to get certified as a lead implementer in ISO 37001, to promote anti-corruption through national, provincial, and local government structures, to engage with engineers' professional bodies. So again, a very wide variety of responses of what people intend to do, which reflects the very broad different types of people who are involved in the workshops, and again shows that the workshops have given people food for thought in many, many different fields, in government, in professional institutions, and in organizations. Overall, how likely are you to recommend this program to other persons? 74% said very likely, which is very pleasing. 25% said likely, and 2%, one person, is very unlikely to do so. And would people like further training, feedback, anti-corruption programs for governments, training on different case studies of anti-corruption, ethics and business practice on ISO 37001, focus on community development and extortion on construction sites, artificial intelligence, and unfair trade practices and prevention techniques. So again, I suppose people are saying there perhaps a more detailed, in-depth study of a lot of the topics that we touched on broadly in these workshops. Do you have any suggestions on how the workshop content could be adapted to your country's context? It was noted as being very suitable for Ireland. A couple of people requested a translation of the materials and the workshops into French, which is a very important point for future workshops to be given in different languages. Perhaps a user's manual was suggested. And the soft copy materials, well, we will be issuing them electronically after this workshop. And then people are being asked whether they'd be willing to provide a testimonial, because a couple of the organizations would quite like testimonials for their future outreach programs. And of that, 60% of the people said they would be willing to, which is very generous, and thank you for that. And then any final thoughts? Very nice feedback, very nice comments, which we appreciate from people. Thank you very much. Thanking the presenters and people for the program, and thanking people for the coordination of the program and the organizations. So thank you very much for all those responses. So overall, we're very, very pleased. We haven't had much time to look at them in detail because they only closed yesterday. But thank you very much for your very positive responses. I think what's coming back from all those charts which Susan developed is a very strong preponderance of positive feedback from people. We're looking 65% at the highest mark and 30% or so at the next highest mark, with a few people inevitably not being as satisfied as others. But that's understandable, and there are many things we can do to improve in the future. So we will certainly take your comments on board very seriously. So all I can do now is just say thank you very much for attending. Thank you much for contributing, and we will take all these comments on board. And what I'm going to suggest is I'm going to hand over to Susan a little bit early for Susan to present the attendance records and comments on how to get certificates, etc. But if we have any time at the end, Susan, I'm just wondering whether we could, if there is time, ask people to share a few of their thoughts as to how they plan to take this forward. If they have any thoughts about training or leadership in their own countries, be useful if people could give a couple of minutes feedback to us online, as we're all in an open session here. But first of all, let you introduce your requirements to make sure we have got time for that. So thank you very much, everyone, for your excellent comments. I'll hand back to Susan. I'm just wondering, Susan, the bell ringing when people join, is there any way we can switch that off?
I'm trying to, but I'm having a little bit of a challenge there. I don't know why. Yes.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Neil. And thank you for the warm comments that you brought. And also thank you to the participants for all the feedback, for the support along the way. I recognize that we are all very busy people in our various capacities, but we are grateful for the enthusiasm with which you've supported this program all through October up till now. I will share my screen now, and then we'll go into the next session in the discussion. Just a minute, please. Okay, now. All right. Okay, please, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you very much,
Yes,
Mr.
very
Titi.
clear. Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, so quickly, I will run through a few things, just give us some information about the learning platform. If we recall, I shared an email about the learning platform where we had all our materials. So I'll just give us some quick information about that, and then a quick overview of our participation, a little bit about the issuance of certificates and qualifications for the trainers, and so on and so forth, as per the session 2 on the agenda I am sharing on your screen. Before that, let me quickly make some acknowledgements. I'd like to personally acknowledge the organizing partners in this TOT, including the Global Infrastructure Anti-Corruption Center, the World Federation of Engineering Organizations Committee on Anti-Corruption, and Globe Ethics. Particularly, let me acknowledge Neil Stansbury in his person as the co-founder and director of the GICC, and also one of our speakers in this program. Let me also acknowledge for the WFEO the support of the president-elect, the executive vice president, and the secretariat of the WFEO. They have also worked with us all through this program. And then for Globe Ethics, the founder of Globe Ethics, Professor Christoph Stockelberger, he was one of our speakers, and also the executive director, Fadi Dao, and Kamel in his person as the regional counsel of Globe Ethics. We've also had some partnership from the Colegio Federal de Ingenieros y de Arquitectos de Costa Rica. I hope I tried to pronounce that well. And they brought in their members also to participate in this program, and several other national members of these bodies, the GIACC and the WFEO, who signed on and have followed through on this program. And you are distinguished participants and guests we've had along the way. And just a quick acknowledgement, these have been our speakers: Neil Stansbury from the GICC International, Michael Kramer, who is also from the GICC and the IACRC USA, Kamel Ayadi from the WFEO, the GICC, and Globe Ethics. And then, like I mentioned earlier, Christoph Stockelberger, and our other speakers on the artificial intelligence and ethics, that is Olivia Guilo and Joshua George. And then we also had Paul Haywood join us along the way to give us some expert insights on anti-corruption from a sectors-based approach. Yeah, so these have been our speakers. I'm just running through this quickly. And also, let me also acknowledge we had some people join us either as moderators or as panelists, and these have been the distinguished persons who came on board: Engineer Leslie Alex Aye, who is the past president of the WFU in West Africa and also board member of the Federation of African Engineering Organizations; Dr. Raida Al-Alawi, the president of the Bahrain Society of Engineers; and also Hamish Goldescott, who is a civil engineer, a planner, and environmentalist. And then we also had Michael Every, who was with us just a few sessions ago. He is with the U.S. Department of Transport, the Federal Highway Administration. All right, so on to the agenda as I outlined earlier. A couple of us are signed on to the anti-corruption online learning platform. I've received several emails concerning the materials and the recordings of the workshops. They are, for the recordings, currently they're all available on the platform, aside the recordings for the conflict of interest sessions. As you are all aware, and as was communicated, because of Camel's reference to the ISO standards, which has yet to be approved, that was not added on to the platform. But you have the recordings of all about 13 sessions right there on the platform. The training materials also will be uploaded onto the platform. So anytime you go, you can access it. So this is just to say that if you do not have access to the platform, just reference, I sent an email to everyone. You should find it in one of my emails. You should create a profile there and then go on to access these materials there. Subsequently, if you want to access the platform, just go to the www.globeethics.net, log on, and then click on the online learning platform. You will see here that I've been on several training courses there. So you just click on the anti-corruption learning platform, and then you will have access to all the information there is therein. All right, so a brief overview of your kind support and participation in this training. We had about 216 people registering, but actual participation came down to 149. Of this 149 participation, we have a representation from 43 countries across the globe. And of these 149 actual participation, we've had about 28 people who consistently were present in 11 to 15 sessions throughout the training. And just a note on the average attendance per session, this varied. Sometimes it was high, sometimes it was slightly lower, but on the average, we had 62 people present in all our training sessions. And these participants covered the WAFO's member organizations, personnel of governments and national agencies, law enforcement bodies, public and private sector organizations, and non-governmental organizations, the academia, and professional institutions. I'd like to quickly acknowledge a group of people who were consistent throughout and were present in 14 or to 15 sessions in the TOT. These include Herbert Mackinder from Global Ethics in Kenya, Mr. Ko Chang Wong, also from the WFEO. We also have Faiza Saeed, also from Pakistan, and then Mr. Gabriel Sipi from Ghana, and then Amos Sweden from Tunisia, Ashraf Gobel from Tunisia also, Ilunga Charles Medard from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Najes Budali from Tunisia, Anton Kraus from South Africa, and Kenneth Quesada pardon me, from Costa Rica. These have engaged us in at least 14 of all of the TOT right from October, and we want to acknowledge your ardent participation. Now, on to the issuance of certificates. First of all, we will be issuing certificates of participation to everyone, all 149 of us, based on the receipt of your evaluation, which Neil already expounded on earlier. So that circulation will be done in the coming week, please. So look out for your certificates. Beyond this, for the 28 or so who were in 75% attendance in the TOT, we'll be going through a trainer certification process. And then following that, we'll issue trainer certificates to them and accompanying them in also replicating this training in their various contexts. So quickly, for the trainer qualification process, and for all those who qualify in the 75% bracket, would be requiring that you identify the professional institution under whose auspices you'll be organizing further training, the country or territory you're proposing to hold the training in, the part of the training course you would wish to offer. You are free to offer part or the whole of the training, a copy of your CV, and a proposed training outline. We will give ourselves some time to receive this feedback from you, but I will send that an email with this information so that we can start work on this. So this is just to give us an idea of the process we'll be going through as we go into the certification of those who will be proceeding as trainers from this program. All right. And then quickly, I want to thank us all. Many of us have indicated your availability to provide some form of testimonial about the training, and for this, we're already grateful. I'll also be sending an email just giving us a short guide as to what is required. But basically, you can give us a testimonial in a written or video recorded format. I will send the guideline to help us in this process. It's something very brief, and we'll be appreciative if you could also give us permission to use your testimonial, whether it's a photo, video, or written format in our communications. Okay, so this information will also be coming to us by email. Thank you very much in anticipation of this. And then I'll just want to make a quick note on a survey we conducted following the conflict of interest workshops. Mr. Kamela Yadi unfortunately excuses himself from today's meeting because of another urgent commitment he had to see to, but he would be bringing us that feedback. So what will happen is we'll send that information via email to all those who completed that evaluation. Some have expressed interest in wanting further training on conflict of interest, and we're going to work around how we can deliver that together with you. So please do expect that feedback once Kamel is back from the commitment he had to attend to. We're also planning to have a follow-up event, but this will be much later in this year. And we are looking at presenting the evaluation results and some reflections from some of our key participants, and also engaging with members of the organizing institutions in that session. It will be a brief session, but we will send you information about that when that will take place much later on in this year. So I believe this is all I will be presenting to us right now. If you have any questions or any concerns, you can put them in the chat, or you can drop us an email and we will get back to you on that. Thank you very much. And we will now open the floor for any questions, feedback, or comments, please. Thank you. Yes. All right. I see a hand up. Ashraf, please go ahead, unmute yourself and speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Susan. Hi, Neil. Thank you very much for all your support during the program. It has been a great experience for me. I have a quick question. Is there a plan to keep us connected as a group, like WhatsApp group, just to share idea, future collaboration? Yeah.
Hello. Yes, thank you, Ashraf. There is a WhatsApp group which
Yes.
is in existence. I will maybe get the link to that, and maybe when sending the email, I will share that. This was opened right at the very beginning of the training by one of the participants, and I've seen we have a couple of participants there and they've been exchanging there. So thank you for mentioning this. I will note that. I also noted that a participant was wondering if there was a way participants from a particular country can come together and engage. If this is something we are open to, for sake of privacy, we don't want to go on and be sharing information. But if this is something we are open to, I think we can also discuss that on the WhatsApp platform, and then we can engage ourselves within our various local contexts. So I will share that WhatsApp link with us if it's somewhere we want to engage, and then we go ahead with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Susan. Thank you.
Yes, all right. Thank you. Neil, I don't know if you have any feedback. I'm looking in the chat. I think there is a question there. Yes, Professor Satpathy, thank you for your comment. Yes, let me apologize to say that we conceptualize this training as a free offering, and because of that, we didn't want to restrict the registration also. And we recognize also that along the way, we had people who were interested in specific aspects of the training. So we opened it up for them. So what this has meant is that some people wouldn't have had the opportunity to attend all the sessions as they would have wished to. But having said this, yes, the certificates will go out, and if there are any further developments beyond this training, we'll keep you informed. And this is in response to Professor Satpathy's message in the chat. Charles Kane also has a similar question. He says this is his first session, so he was wondering when the next training series will start, and if you're allowed to sign up for that. Definitely, if we come around to organize such an extensive, comprehensive training, we will definitely reach out to everyone who applied to this training first before even sending it out to the wider populace. So definitely look out for that if this is something I want to go forward in. But Charles, we would also let you know when we're having that final engagements before the end of this year, so that you can also come on board that. So yes, we are happy to continue the engagement. We have several hands up. I'm going to start with Engineer Nasser Shehu, and then we go on to Professor Satpathy. I'm just going according to as I see on my screen. And please go ahead, Engineer Shehu, and let's hear from you. Unmute yourself, please. Wonderful.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon to you all.
Greetings.
It is a wonderful session, of course, all the way from last year to this year. Really, I appreciate the program, especially investigating corruption in construction industry. So I have a question, especially a case of Nigeria is quite alarming case, because from 1999 to date, all the government work project is on construction field, infrastructural project. And there are a lot of sign of corruption. And for the last week's session, in the process of investigating corruption in road construction, so there are a lot of things that that need to be especially taken into cognizance in terms of whistleblowing. So is there any legal backup that as for we, the participants of this program, we can organize a kind of sensitization program to invite especially the staff under Ministry of Works and other civil society organizations to present such an enlightenment or a meeting with them to sensitize them on the process of checkmating this project, because every year, every project executed before even just a commission of the project, you see it lapidated because of the extent of corruption in such construction project. Is there any legal backup that we can use under global ethics that we can convene people to discuss the issue of investigating corruption and invite volunteers to try their best, and especially in recording the progress of the work construct on the project on the process? That is my question. Thank you.
All right. I think perhaps we should also take the question from Professor Satpathy, and then maybe Neil, if you have some responses, you can. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, Professor, please go ahead.
Hello.
Hello.
So I cannot thank you enough for the brilliant opportunity to all of us. I think I have thoroughly enjoyed so far attending all the sessions since I registered. And all that I wanted to say is thank you and my immense gratitude to the entire team for the excellent coordination and excellent conduction and execution of the training program. But besides that, I have a request to make and a question. So I lead the Global Consortium of Global Health Activists, Leaders and Thinkers right now as the CEO and founder of it. So it is one of the largest and the only consortium of global health right now in the entire world, led by people based in Global South. And we have more than 2,000 members from literally 170 countries right now. And people are still applying to become members. And right now we are running one global advanced certification program, which is a very intensive training program for 1,000+ participants, offered completely for free. And it's a 3 months training duration program, during which they actually are working on research projects with us. We have world-leading resource persons mentoring them. You can have a look at the information. Maybe I can provide that also. So this is just one of the activities that we are doing. Besides that, we are doing many activities. We are planning something related to corruption and health and development space. And we are thinking of a potential coordination and collaboration with Global Ethics and other organizations who are party to this. So if you would be happy, then maybe we can have this interaction and exchange of communication. So please let us know the channel and what's the procedure for having this collaboration. I and the entire Global Consortium of Global Health would be very happy to collaborate with you. So that's all I wanted to communicate. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Engineer Shehu and Professor Satpathy. I think what strikes me about today and what people are commenting is we have so many wonderful people in this around us here. We don't want to lose contact. And if people haven't been able to, like Dr. Satpathy, to attend all those sessions, we don't want to lose contact with him. So I'm just wondering whether if people did not attend all the sessions to be able to qualify as a trainer under this program, and they really are keen to receive such a qualification in the future, if they could send an email to you, Susan, putting their name and interest down, and then we can contact them and sort of perhaps think how we can deal with this. And secondly, like Engineer Shehu's request, if people have specific requests for another workshop or training, again, it's quite difficult to pick them up in an open forum today. If they could put a specific request in to you, Susan, if that's possible, Engineer Shehu, exactly what you're looking for, because we have 3 organizations here, WFEO, Globe Ethics, and GIAC. We're all different organizations, but I think between us, if we get a series of requests from people that they're interested in becoming trainers in the future, or they're interested in a workshop, I think we can actually discuss this amongst ourselves and see how best to respond, because we have a lot of wonderful ideas and a lot of people. We don't want to lose that. Is that something possible, Susan, that you could coordinate? Because everyone's got your email, they've got your contact. If they
Yes.
could any specific requests can come to you.
Yeah. I think we may need to find an easier way to go around that, because if I'm receiving 60 something emails, it's going to be overwhelming. So maybe I would create like a simple form as we go on to round up. Then any kind of specific interest you want us to follow up with you on, that can be put on the form. Then we can address them at a go. I think we can work around that, definitely. And it makes sense to want to continue the good work that we have done here already, and to replicate them within people's local context. And in following up to this, I see people asking whether it's compulsory to use English in whatever activities they want to follow. I mean, not at all. We are looking at delivering the training in your own local context, according to your own specific needs, whether part of the training or whole of the training, or where you think there is a real need you want to address. So please feel free to want to go ahead to have this done in Spanish, in French, in English, in any format that will be suitable for your use. And that is what we would like to discuss further as we're going through the certification process. Yes. I see a hand up from Julian. Would you please unmute yourself and speak? Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for a fantastic seminar series. It's been inspiring, it's been informative. I'm probably one of those who might narrowly miss the cutoff of 14 or 10 or whatever the requirement is. I've been to many, there are many I've wanted to catch up on. But I raised my hand just on this point, just to suggest a possible innovation whereby, they talk about gamifying learning, whereby the incredible resource that exists in the 12 lectures that have been presented could be put into a format where people could watch the videos, demonstrate that they have, answer some questions, and then perhaps get accreditation for that session and slowly become qualified that way. I think it's something to think about and possibly take further. But for now, I just want to say thank you so much for such a fantastic course. The professor who just spoke, sorry, a final thought on health infrastructure. This is an area where we in South Africa, also as GIAC South Africa, are becoming focused. There is a forum already established by national government that looks into anti-corruption in health as well as in water and sanitation. So there's big expenditure in those spaces and education as well. So to connect via forums such as this on large infrastructure project spending in specific sectors is incredibly valuable. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yes, so back to you, Neil.
Yes, well, I've got nothing to add really. Just any other people, but what Julian said is very important and reinforces my previous comment that, if people are very keen, because going back to the beginning, we originally said that a session of 16 workshops, and people who attended the whole suite of 16 would be available to qualify as trainers. But then we realized as time went on how difficult attending all 16 would be for people, and therefore we did downgrade that to 75%. But that may leave people cut off who would love to still be trainers. So if you can respond to Susan in Susan's form on that, if you have a specific desire to be qualified and you missed some sessions, I'm sure there's a way we can work around this. We can, we don't want to lose good people because of the cutoff point. But that, for the time being, is the cutoff for the current presentation. But if you can put your request onto Susan's form, which she'll circulate, and we can give it due consideration.
All right. Yes. Thank you. The floor is still open. I think we can take one or two more questions or feedback before we round up. If you have any question or any feedback you want to give, you can come on live.
I think Professor Satwati there put a comment in the chat, how do we communicate? But I think, Susan, what you were saying is the WhatsApp group is the way you can communicate. And Susan, you will remind people of the WhatsApp details in your emails. So Professor Satwati, you can communicate with the group on the WhatsApp chat.
Yes. Okay. So in the meantime, if we do not have any, okay, we have a hand raised. Please unmute yourself and speak. Yes, please.
Well, just a few words to thank everybody for this great effort, to Neil, to Kamel, to the rest of the international speakers for this wonderful course. We have learned much wonderful things about how corruption presents, how to prevent and everything. And it has been a pleasure to be with everybody in these 16 meetings, and congratulations to all of you. Thank you very much. That's all. From Colombia, from here, Colombia, and from Latin American, we will translate it into Spanish. We have been doing that, and we will promote it in the faculties of engineering, the faculties of architectures, and so on at the universities. So it has been a great course. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. All right. I want to cede the floor now to Neil and also Mr. Michael Kramer, if you have any final words. So we round up this session. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Susan. Well, I think my final words would be just to thank everyone who participated in this workshop. It's been a very exciting time for us. We've never done this before. I don't think it's ever been done internationally before. A set of such comprehensive workshops focusing on infrastructure specifically over 6 months, 16 workshops. And I think we've met a wonderful group of people, and there are a lot of opportunities for us to collaborate in the future, and which is why I'm very, very keen that, as I mentioned before, if people have any specific ideas for collaboration or training or involvement, if they could put this in the form which Susan will circulate, then we can follow up and keep in touch, because we've got so many people, wonderful people from so many countries. We shouldn't lose this momentum. And as Susan said, the WhatsApp chat, you can keep in touch with people from the same group. And now everything's downloaded onto the platform Susan's created. All the training slides and all the videos are there, so you can watch at your convenience. So just to say, no, thank you very much. We are all here because we know that corruption is such a terrible, terrible blight on humanity and on the world. That's why we're here, and it's because we care. That's why we're here, and that's why we want something to do with it. It takes an unusual type of person who wants to fight against corruption. Too many people in the world are corrupt or just go with the flow. So it's incumbent on people like us to put our hands up and say no. So thank you very much for putting your hand up and joining our workshops, and in your countries fighting to say no in the future. We very much appreciate that. And that would be my final words, to say thank you very much. And just to reinforce again, thank you to Susan, who's been absolutely amazing and wonderful in coordinating this. I can't think of anyone better to have manage such a hugely complicated task as 16 workshops with 240 registered people over 6 months. I cannot conceive the difficulty of this task, but Susan, you've done it miraculously, and your approval ratings in the evaluation were worthy. So if I can just ask my old friend and colleague Mike Kramer, one of the most experienced people in the world about corruption I've ever met, to give a few final thoughts from your point of view.
Yes, well, thank you, Neil. Thank you, Susan. Thank you to all the organizers. All of the thanks that you've received today have been well deserved and earned, and it's been my privilege to participate. I just want to say that I want to encourage our participants and our attendees to continue to share their thoughts, their comments, their suggestions for future programs with the organizers, so that we can ensure that the training meets your interest and your needs. Sometimes we get involved in repeating the same training over and over again that you may have heard before or may not be of interest. But for example, today I learned of the real interest in the conflict of interest programs, which I wouldn't have expected. I know it's of interest, but I didn't realize it was of such interest. And so it's important for the attendees to share their experiences and to share their ideas for programs that will be of interest and use to them. And I look forward, hopefully, to more opportunities to do training and exchange ideas with all of you. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kramer. It's always a pleasure having you, and we are grateful for your unwavering support all through this training. Thank you to all our distinguished participants. And like I mentioned earlier, being on a program for 9 months, every 2 weeks, online for 2 hours is not an easy undertaking. And for this, we are appreciative for your full support all this while. We appreciate that there were commitments along the way, and some didn't get to know earlier on about the program, so you came in a little bit later, and that is why we will follow as Neil has suggested. If you have any interest in any portion of the training, I will send around the form. You let us know, and then we see how we can accompany ourselves together beyond today's closure of the anti-corruption training of trainers program. So I want to say thank you again. I think today has been more of thanks. Thank you to everyone, our speakers, our organizers, our participants, everyone who have contributed in various forms on the panel as moderators, in every form, giving us feedback in the background, sending your emails and your thoughts, your patience. Sometimes you don't get the responses you need immediately or in the form you may be looking for, but I thank you for your understanding and your collaboration. Please, as has been mentioned, expect from me the email containing information about the WhatsApp group, containing a form as to how you would want us to accompany you going further, your testimonials and the conflict of interest feedback from Camille, among others. So if we do not have any other further comments from Neil, from Michael, from any other person, I think it is a good place to draw the curtain and to say thank you. It has been wonderful being with all of us since October 2024 up till June this year. We'll hope to continue the conversations in the other platforms and even on the online learning platform, which is still open. Thank you very much. Neil, Michael, any final words, and then we are done for today. Thank you.
I have no more final words. I think you've said it all, Susan. Thank you. I think you did have the program. You did have a photograph. Were you intending to do a screenshot?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Thank you for that reminder. I would kindly ask that we switch on our cameras. We didn't have so much opportunity to. Wow. Okay. Splendid. Oh, okay. I'm now putting faces to the names. This is wonderful. All right. Okay. So with your beautiful smiles for the camera, indulge me for a few minutes. We need to take this in sessions because we're a lot. So the first take. Okay. And then The second take. Some cameras are still off. Yes, they're coming on now. All right, the second take. Just a minute, please. One final take. All right. Beautiful smiles. All right. We are done. Thank you so much. Yes, we have your smiles and your pictures now. Okay, then. Thank you. Au revoir. Merci beaucoup. Muchas gracias. It's been a pleasure being with us all. We'll continue the conversation in other forums. Bye for now.
Bye, bye, bye.
Thank you.
Merci
Bye.
beaucoup.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye. Merci
Bye bye.
beaucoup.
Thank you.
Merci.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.